everyone! Have you been doing well? I'm Maki, your Gundam loving commentator. Today, I'm going to introduce a very special Gundam for all of you. What do you think you could do if you were able to see the future? What if you could learn about matters that would lead to victory in business faster than anyone else? What if you could know the winning number in a lottery before anyone else? What if you could know about dangerous accidents beforehand? It's certain that you could lead a very advantageous life. I want to become rich too. Today, I'm going to introduce a Gundam that holds the potential to make even such things possible. It's truly the most powerful Gundam. But don't get too excited. Please carefully consider whether or not you can handle it after understanding my commentary. Because it's not necessarily the case that you can handle great power accurately. Today, I'm going to introduce Wing Gundam Zero from Gundam Wing. Zero will show you the future. Can you become the victor? I wonder. Here's the story of how the ultimate Gundam, the Zero, came into existence. In the world of Gundam Wing's narrative, 6 of the greatest scientists collaborated to develop the world's first mobile suit. There was Dr. J, an authority on beam weapon research Professor G, an expert in stealth technology Dr. S, a guru in fire control systems Professor H, who was an expert in cockpit systems, software and interfaces, the master of the mobile suit's driving system, the elder, and Howard, a specialist in propulsion technology. The Tagi, which they developed, was so high-performing that it became incredibly difficult for an average person to operate. Didn't they notice this while they were building it? Or perhaps that's just the nature of genius. The Wing Gundam Zero was created based on the lessons learned and knowledge gained from the Tagi. It was designed to have a system that draws out the maximum ability of its pilot. Moreover, by using a new material called Ganuyama alloy for its armor, it achieved incredible shock resistance and heat resistance. The name Gundam was born from this Ganuyama alloy. The mobile suit has a part called wing-shaped thrusters, which is where its name comes from, and with its powerful twin buster rifle, it has the ability to destroy not only enemy mobile suits but also enemy bases on its own. Interestingly, there are different interpretations of the Wing Gundam Zero in the various materials. The scientists were part of an organization called DOS, which exists within a massive organization that rules the Earth. While they were creating the Wing Gundam Zero, however, the scientists defected from Oz when the organization started actions that threatened the livelihood of people living in space. One interpretation is that the Wing Gundam Zero was almost completed at the point when the scientists defected from Oz. Another theory is that the 5 scientists, excluding Howard, regrouped after defecting from Oz and secretly continued the development of the Wing Gundam Zero. This point has not been settled and is an interesting academic aspect of the Gundam world. Back to the Wing Gundam Zero. This Gundam also comes with great risks for the pilot. The Zero system places a great burden on the pilot's body and mind. For example, it influences the substances in the brain that control the physical burden felt by the pilot, making them feel as if they are not experiencing any physical stress as a result. The pilot may force themselves to make reckless maneuvers without realizing that their body is falling apart. And that's not all. The system directly transmits battlefield data predictions, methods of handling situations, possible outcomes, and future scenarios to the pilot's brain. These scenarios can include situations where the pilot could lose their life. When these images are sent directly to the brain, the pilot experiences them so vividly that they can distinguish whether they're real or just data, and this happens countless times in an instant. Imagine this, those of you watching this video, don't you get irritated when you're engrossed in cooking, working, or playing a game, and someone talks to you, afraid of too much information that you can't process all at once is extremely stressful. The zero system triggers that on an unimaginable scale. It's terrifying. That's an overview of the Wing Gundam Zero. Fascinating, isn't it? Let's have a chat about the special system, the Zero system. I wonder if you'd want to see the future. After understanding this, the Zero system, officially known as the zoning and emotional range omitted system, is something like a super smart strategic assistant. Think of it as the predictive system your computer or smartphone uses to suggest what you want to search or buy, but on an unimaginate powerful scale. Don't forget the unimaginate powerful part, alright? The Zero system sends predictions and solutions directly into the pilot's brain. It measures the ever-changing battlefield situation countless times and forcibly shows the best action to take in order to get the pilot to make the best decisions. It also directly sends predictions of the worst outcomes into the pilot's brain. These can be situations where the pilot loses their life, really the worst scenarios. And since it's sent directly into the brain, it's delivered in such a way that it's hard for the pilot to tell whether it's reality or the result of a simulation. Moreover, the Zero system prioritizes the victory of Wing Gundam Zero above all else. Do you know what this means? In order to achieve its goal, it may even force actions that would sacrifice the pilot himself or his allies. Therefore, to skillfully use this system, you need strong mental power to control your own emotions and suppress the system's instructions. But the danger doesn't stop there. The Zero system is also interconnected with the entire cockpit system. It analyzes the pilot's various physiological functions and controls the secretion of neurotransmitters to mitigate or even prevent the pilot from feeling the stimuli of sudden acceleration, deceleration, or sharp turns of the Gundam. It even controls the secretion of dangerous substances called endogenous drugs. Just like how misusing anesthetics in the real world can endanger a person's life, the Zero system won't hesitate to execute such risky operations for the sake of victory. The only one who fought till the end using this dangerous Zero system is the protagonist of Gundam Wing Hero Yae. Pilots other than Hero have also experienced glimpses of the future by boarding this machine. Some pilots even lost their lives. It's truly terrifying, isn't it? Towards the end of the story, Queda temporarily installed this system in Gundam Sandrock and used it as a support for analyzing and understanding crew battles. Queda once misused the Zero system and caused indiscriminate destruction. I was moved by his growth from that failure to mastering the use of the Zero system. So would you like to try using the Zero system? If you want to see the future, give it a try, of course. I can't guarantee your safety. Just the name Wing Gundam Zero sends thrills of excitement through your chest, doesn't it? Let's explore this Gundam's impressive arsenal together. First up, the machine cannons. These are quadruple-mounted large-caliber machine guns stowed in each shoulder. Their power is such that they can annihilate entire enemy squads composed of standard mobile suits with this weapon alone. Depending on the pilot's skill, they can even destroy a powerful mobile suit made of Gundam alloy, the Virgo, and in combination with the Zero system, they can be controlled merely by the pilot's thoughts. Next, we have the Wing Vulcans. This weapon is subject to different interpretations. Some sources indicate it's equipped on the wing blinders on the back, however. Some model kits have it located on the shield side. In recently released games, you can indeed see this configuration on the shield side. The wing shield is not only for defense, but it can also be used for offense. Its extendable feature can be utilized to inflict significant damage on the enemy. The defensive power of the Gundam alloy is also effective in attacks This extendable feature also incorporates a cooling system, very handy, isn't it? For close quarters combat, we have the beam saber. This powerful weapon is stored within the shoulder armor and can destroy multiple mobile suits in one swing in the series. It utilizes the durability of the Gundam alloy to generate a high output beam by creating a special structure called an ionized layer on the surface of the beam. It can be used underwater without losing any power. It's able to match up evenly with the close combat specialized Gundam Epion, and it was this beam saber that led the Wing Gundam Zero to victory. It's a simple weapon, but certainly a trump card. And the highlight is the twin buster rifle. This weapon, a combination of two buster rifles, has enough power to destroy a space colony in a single shot. It can also be sprayed to fire in different directions. Swinging around a high output beam is very impressive if you adjust its power. It can also fire rocket shots. The energy was fed from cartridges in the Wing Gundam, but in the Wing Gundam Zero, energy is directly supplied from the unit. By using the high output power of the unit, it's become much easier to handle. Wing Gundam Zero can transform into a Neo bird for maneuvering fast movement. At first glance, enemies may mistake it for a space shuttle. The Wing Gundam Zero is the ancestor of the Wing Gundam. Some might find it odd that the word Neo is included in the name. One could trivially interpret that it was named Neo for the sake of TV programs and model kit advertising. But there are other interpretations in the story. Wing Gundam Zero is something unfinished, completed by Quater. It's also possible to interpret that the actual combat data obtained from Wing Gundam was reflected and enhanced at the time. If so, it wouldn't be strange to include the word reborn. How do you feel about this? Once you see the amazing equipment of Wing Gundam Zero, it's hard to forget, isn't it? Let's talk about Wing Gundam Zero, which was built by Quater, a young man who had lost his family. Quater's family was filled with kind, caring people. Unfortunately, due to the chaotic world affairs, they were tragically killed by the inhabitants of the colonies. Filled with resentment towards the weapons and armies in space, Quater invested his own wealth and constructed the Wing Gundam Zero based on data left by Professor H at the time. Quater saw Wing Gundam Zero as simply a powerful weapon, unaware of the danger of its unique Zero system. This system wreaked havoc on Quater's mind, leading him to destroy the bait, a mobile suit piloted by his friend Joel. Following this, both Quater and the Wing Gundam Zero were captured by us. Next, Wing Gundam Zero falls into the hands of Troll, a NOS technical officer. Troll becomes fascinated by the power of Wing Gundam Zero, eventually also succumbing to the influence of the Zero system. He goes berserk battles against the Gundam Death Kit Hell piloted by Duo, and self-destructs. Once again, the Wing Gundam Zero is recovered by us and slated for disposal. That's when Zex appears. He detonates his own mobile suit Taki and takes the Wing Gundam Zero from us. Zex battles against Heroes Gundam Epion with Wing Gundam Zero, but the systems of both suits interfere with each other, resulting in both becoming inoperable. The Zero system and Epion system are incredibly similar, and the showdown between Hero and Zex, the pilots controlling these systems, exceeded the predictive range of both systems. Hero claimed that the Epion system, built by Treats, was incompatible with him, and suggested to Zex that they swap mobile suits. Eventually, the two agreed to exchange their machines. It's amusing, almost like a casual swap between friends. Then the final battle, the Wing Gundam Zero piloted by Hero triumphs over the Gundam Epion, piloted by Zex. Furthermore, Hero destroys a fragment of the massive battleship Libro that was about to fall on us, using the maximum output of the twin buster rifle. The final shot was taken while entering the Earth's atmosphere, the pseudo brace. Incredible, isn't it? The Wing Gundam Zero, returning to its comrades in Neo Bird form after destroying Libro, leaves a lasting impression. Did you enjoy the breakdown of Wing Gundam Zero? This Gundam is piloted by our protagonist, Hiro. It's an interesting tale that this Gundam ends up being piloted by quite a few characters before finally landing in Hiro's hands. This magnificent Gundam is packed with a powerful weapon, a dangerous system, and lots of aspirations toward robots. Plus, the design is super cool. But hold on a second, did you know that there are also variations of Wing Gundam Zero? What about this beautiful Gundam that looks like it has angel wings? Aren't you curious? Actually, this is also Wing Gundam Zero. I'll make sure to thoroughly introduce this Gundam as well. Please look forward to it. And with that, today's session is over. But before we go, I have a suggestion for you. You notice a subscribe button on your device's screen. Guess what happens when you press it? The Zero system activates. This means you'll be able to see the future, making you invincible, of course. If you are not prepared, things can get quite intense. But don't worry, if you can't handle the Zero system, just hit the like button. Think of it as your self-destruct switch. You'll be able to safely stop the system. In the end, the decision is all yours. I'm wishing you the best of luck. Until we meet again in the next session, take care.